Alright guys, Hayzink here, welcome back to the channel for one more Disgaearpg video. That is right, you are joining me on the channel today to talk about Disgaearpg. Who would have thunk it? Anyway, today we are going to talk about Awakened KILLIA's character gate. Okay, now obviously yesterday you will have seen the character breakdown for KILLIA, and I'm sure after seeing that you are keen to get your hands on him and know what you are looking to face in his gate. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about what you can expect and basically what you need to do to beat this guy. Okay, now if you haven't already, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, doing all of those things I ask you to do repeatedly, and comment down below. So, you've obviously experienced quite a few of these gates at this point. Some are hard, some are not so hard. I'm looking at you, imagine Etna, who has been massively power creeped out of existence. KILLIA falls somewhere in the middle. The main reason that KILLIA falls somewhere in the middle is because you have quite a wide range of options for teams that can take on his gate, okay? Now, unlike a lot of other stages where you maybe had one or two choices, KILLIA's gate has a lot more choices. In fact, it has 5 different choices, okay? Now, he does have a unique mechanic that happens on stage 5, and it relates a little bit to Lucy, but to be honest, it's a bit of a moot point because it's something that's very rarely used in the game. I think so far it's been used twice or 3 times. So the fact that they put an ability on Lucy that helps her counter this effect is just kind of dumb because, like I say, it's just so rarely used. It's kind of pointless even being on her. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about what you can expect from KILLIA's gate, okay? So first of all, the things you need to know is the type of teams that you can take into KILLIA's gate, okay? So the actual geo boosted characters, so people who will get a 100% boost to stats, is Sword, Bow, Axe, Monster Physical, and Monster Magic, okay? Now obviously that opens up quite a wide variety of teams that you can build, okay? And to be honest, the strategy for this one is pretty simple. If you've got buffers, buff, speed, attack, clear. It's honestly, it's not going to be difficult for you if you have your team set up in a way that you can steamroll through content. Now obviously not everyone can steamroll through content, so for players that are in that position, you really want to dial down on your team builds, okay? Obviously by now you should have a fair few options, I'd say, for Sword. I mean, you've got Laharo, you've got Valvatorez, if you got lucky you've got Zeno Fuka, you've got Swimsuit Etna, who's a buffer for sword characters. She really helps out sword characters, and she does have Mega Braveheart if you built her that way. With regards to bows, I mean, if you've got a full bow team that you can take into this, then fair play, that's quite brave. Bow is a little bit lacking, shall we say. You've also got Axe as well. Axe is a bit of a funny one. Axe units are actually the strongest, most powerful units in the game, but they obviously have the slowest speed because when you equip an Axe it puts your speed down, and I don't think very many people have went down the Axe road and invested much into Axe. If you pulled a Sagi, this is where you can really pull out in front, because Monster Physical, you've got a Sagi's a very fast character, she does a lot of damage. If you've got her on a team with other physical monsters, those physical monsters are obviously going to be giving an Asagi boost, and also they're going to have their own stats boosted by the Geo blocks, giving them 100% boost to their stats. So to be honest, depending on what you pulled, if you were lucky with Asagi, I would say use Monster Physical units for this. You've also got magical monsters you can use on this, which would mean someone like Creator Asagi, you got her free. She can be a good DPS character, you can use her on this stage as well. You can obviously mix and match these units as well, but really it just depends on you. Personally, if you've got it, I would say go with a Monster Physical team, but let's go ahead and talk about what that gimmick is that I was talking about, okay? Now, like I mentioned, if you've got Lucy, Lucy does counteract this. However, she only counteracts it if it affects her, okay? So basically, this special gimmick is called the Magical Ability Seal, okay? And basically what it will do is if it hits a character, it will nullify their abilities, okay? So if you've got a character who is maybe, I don't know, let's just say for example we'll use Rosalia, okay? Say you're running a team that's got one Usalia and no one else, and you were relying on that Usalia for your SP buff, if she got sealed, then that would affect that. She wouldn't give that buff to your attacker, which in this circumstance would probably be Asagi. That's the scenario that I'm running with. The thing is, it doesn't affect buffs, okay? So if you were using the likes of Mega Braveheart, Friend Power, if you go down that route, or anything else that buffs characters' attacks, you can still cast them, and your DPS character is still going to be massively buffed into existence. Now, what I would say that your basic strategy would be for Wave 5 is boost those characters, boost your DPS character, and if you cannot one-shot the wave, because they do have decent defense, but if you can't one-shot the wave, just use your single target damage and take out Seraphina and then take out KILLIA, or vice versa, whatever one you want to target first of all. Now, obviously you guys know once you've got 3 stars on this, it doesn't really matter. You can lose characters, you can put it on auto, you can do whatever you want. But for that first round, you want to make sure you're focused on buffing your DPS character. Because even if your DPS character was to get hit with this mega ability seal or magic ability seal, it would mean that as long as you've buffed them, it doesn't really matter that Asagi, for example, she's going to lose her plus 50% with other monsters in the team. If you've already got her buffed X number of times with Mega Braveheart, for example, it's not going to matter because she's still going to hit like an absolute truck. If you go a different route, however, and you use Sword, for example, and you run Meliodas, you run Fuka, and you go out with a lot of DPS characters, and you're less dependent on SP because you're just doing the attacks as they come. I mean, even if one character gets sealed, the other character's going to carry. Now, based on JP, when I've taken on this gate, I would say that personally, other than Maginetna, I'd probably say this is the second easiest gate to take on. It's not very difficult. Again, I know some people will probably say, oh, it's easy for you to say because you've got a box of decent characters. Yeah, but I mean, that applies to any gate in the game. If you don't have characters to take on the gate, you're going to struggle, plain and simple, okay? But most players, I think, will have options that can fill out these roles. So, you know what I mean, you're going to have bow users, you're going to have monster physical users, you're going to have sword users. You're going to have someone who can step into that team and be able to deal with some damage. Now, like I say, the magical ability seal isn't something that's reared its head very often, and it's not used very often at all. So I kind of feel like having that skill on Lucy is a bit of a waste. Personally, I just don't think it's something that you should be like a selling point of the character, because it's not really going to be used long term. But if you do use Lucy and she happens to be hit with that skill, remember, they can target any one of the 5 people. It's only going to be valid if Lucy's the one that's hit with it. Basically, it's moot. It's not going to do anything. So that's basically a look at KILLIA's gate. It's really not difficult. Again, it's really not difficult if you have the team, but that does apply to any gate in the game. The only wave you kind of have to worry about is wave 5, like I've said, but if you're using buffers, which I don't know how long I've been telling you guys to build up your buffers, if you've listened and if you've done that, you should handle this no problem at all. It's not something that I really see any of you guys having any trouble with, because by now, surely you've all listened to me and you have been building up your buffers, so you can take them on this team and you can do massive damage and clear it no bother at all. Anyway guys, I've been Hayzink, thanks for joining me on this one, and I'll catch you on the next Disgaea RPG video. Peace dudes.